There, how's that? Is that better? Now it might be. There, that should be better. It might have echoed for a minute, but it should be better now. I'm just hanging out. I'm just hanging out with nothing better to do. Hi, Sandra. How is everybody today? Yes, I started out muted, of course. I'm just making bags today. I've got the other I got the other camera. It's over here, and it's over here ready to go, but nope, we don't do that. I got the other camera ready to go. I just am turning bags right now, so there's nothing to see. So I figured, what the heck? I'll just start with one. Yeah, I'm good. We're having a nice. We keep getting sun, then rain, then sun, then rain. So that hasn't been fun, but otherwise things are pretty quiet over here. Wait, I'm showing the wrong camera. Ever so slightly shiny. I'm doing a batch of bags because I haven't been putting as much stuff up in the shop. Tornadoes, oh my God. Okay, like I start my camera going, oh, well, I'm having a day, blah, blah, blah. And then it's like, oh, we have tornadoes. It's like, kind of puts everything that's going on in my world in perspective. It's like, oh, I'm doing really damn good compared to tornadoes. Yeah, I started a few minutes early. I scheduled it for 2, and I started a couple minutes ago. Nothing much to. I started talking to a muted microphone. I just went ahead and started early because I was just kind of sitting here anyway. It's like, well, I'm not going to wait. I'm not doing anything exciting today. I'm just working on some bags for the shop. I've got it's quicker. You save a little bit of time. Those seconds add up when you're doing more than one of something. But it's a better whoops, there it is. It looks super shiny on the camera, but that's a little bit more accurate. Maybe like that. But yeah, I just needed to I need to get some stuff done. Warning. Oh, in Missouri. Okay, yeah. Tornado Alley. The area that I'm from is Tornado Alley. When it goes into Canada, it goes out into the prairies, and there's a small little arm that goes out into Ontario, and where I grew up was just inside it. The closest we ever came to a tornado, though, was one hitting across town, and not much happened. So to go to chicken barn, but we would get the odd one where we would get just enough tornado activity there to scare the shit out of you when the tornado warnings happen, and then make you really, really, really sympathize with people who live in the real tornado alley. This one's a nice one too. This one's they're going in all directions, but that doesn't show up very well at all. It's a really nice. It's a much nicer blue than it's dark blue. Let's see. Tell you right now, this is why Lisa does the cameras. Lisa does the photos for me for my listings, because her cameras, she's got a really good camera, so she can get her photos are a lot more color accurate than what I can get. Yeah. In Missouri, we say if you don't like the weather, wait 5 minutes and it'll change. Oh yeah. Southern Ontario can be the same way. Yeah, this is super busy with the angels everywhere. This is what the frick is her name? I had some other stuff for hers too. I cannot. I'm having a brain cramp moment. I can't think of her name, but she's done a lot of fabric that's ended up in the tarot world. Oh, Hershey is here. Hi, Peggy and everyone in chat, sending blessings and positive vibes with you all. Yeah, thank you. Positive vibes and blessings and happy thoughts back to you, and of course to everybody else that's here. Yeah, I'm not going crazy. I'm not going crazy. I'm not going crazy right now. We're still waiting to see how the tariffs and We've got, what have we had going on? My God, it's like we had the U.S. election cycle that happened. Where do you get your fabric? I can never find great patterns. One of my favorite places here is a store called Fabricana Imports, and they're a fabric store, but that's the name that you see on their business, and they have a lot of really good stuff. But I'm trolling the interweb all the time, looking for ideas, and just like we'll be sitting around on a Thursday. Let's go see. The biggest problem with getting fabric is when you go into a mom and pop shop. When you go into the smaller boutique shops, it's not a problem, but it's a challenge. I don't know how to describe this. If I had my own little boutique shop, I would have to curate what goes in it because there is so much stuff available that you have to decide what you have to decide, and you're going to decide based on your own preferences. So it makes it certain types of patterns can be harder to find. But Fabricana has got lots of floor space. Like they've got hundreds of different fabrics in at any one time. So they keep a nice variety. So they're my favorite. But another one is, now I'm having a brain cramp. Come on, let's double check. If you're in Canada, where is it? Lens Mill. LEN''S, Lens Mill. If you're in Canada, these guys are an online shop, but they have like 11 locations out in Ontario. They have 11 locations out in Ontario, and they do a really good job of keeping a big variety in stock too. Josephine Wall, that's who did the angels. Josephine Wall. That's the artist on that. That's Lens Mill. I was raised in Missouri and Illinois. I totally agree on the weather in the Midwest. I live down south now, and it's just as moody here too. Yep. Small mom and pops are just disappearing. They can't compete. Even here, like I love Fabricana. They're a family-owned they are a family-owned business, but they're bigger. So you can't really go into a small space and curate a collection, because it's just way too easy to go online and have a selection of everything. So if I were to buy a fabric shop, and do you think you will have any extra of the NSFW Dragons deck after the first shipment is done? Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Yes, we will. They're going to be showing up on Lisa's Etsy shop probably no later than the 15th. Let me get that for you. Why am I so slow today? What's Lisa's Etsy shop called again? I just realized I don't have hers favorited. God. Let me see. There it is. It's called Supportive Tarot. Okay. Come on, where is it? There it is. Let me see if I do this right. Oh my God, I'm crappy at getting links. The tariffs so far are interesting. The tariffs so far are really interesting. That should be it right there. That should be the link to Lisa's shop. The tariffs are interesting so far because what's happening right now is they've announced the tariffs. They've said we're doing this and we're doing that, but then they had to walk it back. They had to walk back the tariffs on private enterprise because they don't have anything in place they don't have anything in place to collect it. Like if you buy something, okay, like, so you buy something from me because I'm in Canada. So you buy something from me or any other Canadian or person outside of your own country, outside of the US. Then we put it in a package and we send it to you, but paying the tariff happens on your side of the border, coming directly from your wallet. They don't have anything set up yet to collect it. So what they did a while ago now is they put out a notice stating that they will not be, that the $800 exemption is still in place. So you don't even have to be concerned about tariffs until you're like, okay, like if you go on to Etsy and make a combined order, no, even that doesn't work that way. You would have to order over $800 of something to go down to the States before you have to worry about a tariff. And then, like, this is personal tariffs. We're not talking about if you're buying a car or something like that. We're talking about if you're supporting smaller businesses that happen to not be on your side of the border, right? Then they can't collect it. They've got nothing in place to help them collect it. So they're not even going to be setting that. They're not even going to be charging tariffs until they can get that set up. And they've given no time frame as to when that's going to happen. So they've swung back, and now they're just looking at tariffs on aluminum, steel, cars, the big ticket items. So it looks like, well, okay, right now, right, this business as usual is continuing for small people, for small guys, for little guys like myself. I'm hoping to get one before I can't get one. I'm rushing a bit and have my finger. Okay, no rush. We ordered extra. Okay, let me just explain how this works, because this is simple. I'm a big old squirrel today, so don't let me get off track, because I was just starting on the small businesses have a hard time surviving these days because it's way too easy to get more selection out of online purchasing. But yeah, it's a big, so the tariff thing is a big difference. So, okay, like, don't forget, you're just minding your business. You're not doing this. You're not doing this. And I run an Etsy group, and there are people on that Etsy group who make over $100,000 a year. So they're really keeping an eye on this stuff. So behind the scenes, where I'm actually not being directly impacted by tariffs at all. Now, if they start putting tariffs on fabrics and stuff like that, the cost of fabric might go up for me. But I've already, the price of fabric has gone up. But, and I'll give you some math on that in a bit. But anyway, so the decks. Basically, when you make this, okay, so you do the Kickstarter, you do the thing, right? And so 500 people order a deck. Well, you have to order at least minimum of 10% extra, just in case there's problems. It's really like if I sell exactly 500 decks and I order exactly 500 decks and there's a problem with any of those decks, I'm screwed and can't fix anything for anybody without making them wait months and months and months. Blah 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 blah. You know, because I mean, okay, we had to replace 3 decks out of 900. So it's a really, these guys, these are a great supplier, but you have to be prepared for the possibility of what happens. What happens if it's a simple mistake? What happens if there's a simple mistake and somebody drops a case? They come in like, 25, 30 boxes. Something happens and 1 or 2 boxes end up getting crushed in delivery. Like, things can happen, right? So we have those extras. We ordered an extra 10%. And then what we found out, they give you price breaks. Is there a volume discount? Why, yes, there is. And once we realized once we did the math and figured out where the volume discount was, we ordered extra over and above that. So we will have plenty. We have plenty of decks. Unless there is something happening behind the scenes that we don't know about, in terms of people are just rapidly lining up for these decks, there should be plenty to go around, and you should have lots of time to sort it out. So that is not something to be too concerned about. And Lisa and I have already talked. If the deck ends up being that popular, we'll get more. So we'll because they've the printers got the files. We just like, okay, guys, can you make X amount more? What's your minimum? We'll order that more. So we don't need to worry about that. Anyway, back to the tariffs. So where the tariffs are hitting. Okay, let's assume let's assume we didn't have to pay tariffs on any of our decks, right? But let's assume that for all the money that we're paying, blah, 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 a 25% tariff sounds like a lot. And it is. But it depends on what you're getting. Ooh, this is my last one. I can start actually folding stuff. Depending on what you're getting and how you're getting it, a tariff can be only mildly inconvenient. Oh, well, thank you, Hershey. Yeah, okay, I've got nothing better to do. I literally don't. Instead of just going, no, it's fine, there'll be plenty. I have nothing better to do than explain it if it is within my capacity to do so. I am happy to offer the details, because sometimes you say, oh no, it's fine. And they go, but what about? And it's like, yeah, don't worry about it. We sold 900 decks. How many did we do? We did well. My God, we're still like, we just shake our heads, right? It's like, oh my God, so grateful. I think we have like 200 of each deck, either 200 or 300 of each deck that we have extra, because we had to buy extra. We had to buy extra to begin with, and then we doubled that. I forget how we did that. Anyway, we bought plenty of extra. There would have to be a massive conspiracy to swoop in. We're hoping to sell them out in a year, like over the course of like the next, by the end of the year, something like that. That's always the wishful thinking. But we got lots. We were fine. Okay, black. I already have black in there. Okay. I love cursive words and have to read with it on my channel. I can't wait. Yeah. There's a few. It's actually kind of funny. I think there's been like 3 or 4 reviews that have gone up. Every single one of them was the swearing deck. There's 2 decks. One has no swear words in it. I would love to believe that we're going to sell out fast, but I don't think we're going to sell 200 decks in a few days. I don't think that's going to happen. It's not. Kickstarter's over, right? Anyway, yeah, I haven't done a lot of sewing. I discovered Diablo 4, and I've been binging on that. But waiting out all this tariff stuff, I don't know if the announcements happened yet or not, but here's some math. I don't know if you guys will appreciate it or if it's just going to make your brains bleed. But like, when you're paying tariffs, because don't forget, he put a tariff on everything coming in from China, right? Everything. Okay, so we ordered the decks. They shipped from China to the U.S. They're in a U.S. fulfillment center, which is fine. They're in a U.S. fulfillment center and then shipping from the U.S. It's been spoken into existence. Okay, I'll take it. There was 935 backers. Yeah, it was crazy. And not everybody bought both decks, but I was surprised at the number of people who did. There's a lot of 2 deck packs going out. And that's the good news. Almost everybody's gotten their decks. We had 2, we had 2 decks that looked like they had marks on them. And so we asked they weren't just marks on 2 of the cards. So we asked about that, and they actually apologized to us and said that it basically they'll do a sample sheet first, right? They'll do a sample sheet, and then they're like checking it or doing whatever they do to mark it all up, right? It's like, okay, this is fine. This needs to be looked at, and it looks like somehow that sheet got accidentally cut, or a couple of cards from that sheet got accidentally cut and found their way into 2 decks. So we've already replaced those decks because it's just the cost of doing business. It's not a big deal, but it was cool. It was super cool. We are in love with this We are in love with this with the manufacturer, like the deck publisher. What are they? Whatever they are. Yeah, 3 minutes. I was still looking for my debit card when it met goal. Oh yeah. We were stunned. Honestly, like that was just amazing because it funded fast. My deck funded faster than Lisa's deck did, which was like hilarious. We suspected. Okay. We were really hoping that it would fund quickly, and after it funded so quickly, we realized that the Sassy Dragons deck Lisa's deck is amazing, but it's not necessarily as simple a deck for beginners. And my deck is more beginner friendly. So it's like, yeah, my deck's more beginner friendly. So it kind of makes sense that people are going to get excited about that too. But anyway, no, so we contacted them and we just said, hey, this happened with the cards. Like, is this doesn't look like general accidental damage. What happened? And they said, yeah, we're sorry, that shouldn't happen. It does look like an editing mark. Like I said, from the first sample sheet they said it looks like some, I forget what they called it, but they said it looks like it got put back in there and shouldn't have been. So they're giving us because they already know that we have Unicorn Journey Oracle coming up. They said, we'll give you a discount on the next deck you make with us. It's like, and they've already stated the discount. Yeah, the fun idea of your decks is what I think sold it for everyone. That and the messages of the card are so fun. Yeah, I'm really happy that people are enjoying the deck the way that they are. Okay. Now, which one's this? If I don't start sewing, it's really easy to just sit there. It's really easy to just sit there and it's really easy to sit there and go ahead and just start clipping it all up. But I want to make sure that the side with the turn hole in it gets done first. There it is. Starting my stitch leader. What's going on? Yeah. Here we go. Oh, hey, I got a small update. Okay, nothing that matters. Trust me. Just me a second. Let me now that I've got this one started, let me get that going. Now that I've got everything tucked into its proper place, I might as well get it sewn down so it doesn't have a chance of shifting. But yeah, so we took a look at how the tariffs work, and basically it's like, okay, we pay them a fee, we pay the printer, we pay them a setup fee, we pay them a printing fee, we pay them. There's a bunch of fees that you pay. Ooh, yeah, I like ice cream. I want ice cream now. How fun! So at the end of the day, they broke up they can break up the bill. So the only part we're paying for, all the other fees, you do not pay a tariff on a service fee. You don't pay tariffs on the shipping fee. You don't pay tariffs on the production fee. So the amount that you actually pay on the tariffs is the material good itself. And that's actually depending. Okay, like for us, it was like, it was not zero, but depending on your product, you can be finding that a lot of your fees are more related to service than the product, and then it ends up being cheaper. Okay, that one can go over there because I got to keep them together. This is why I decided to stop. Anyway, we already did the math, and we're not going to, if the tariffs come in, if the tariffs continue the way they are, we're not going to like it, but we can sort it out. We don't know what that's going to look like yet, but we can sort it out. My deck was easy because we got it. My deck just made it under the wire. So, but it looks like the way the tariffs work and how they are applied. Because don't forget, like when you pay for a deck, you're also paying for a portion of the cost of the shipping, a portion of the cost of the production value, a portion of what it costs to hire the artist, portion of this, a portion of that. So by the time we're all said and done, it looks like the tariff part, the part that actually is subject to tariff, isn't going to be that bad for us personally. I don't know what that's going to look like when it comes to tariff on a car or things like that, but if you ever run across any print that resembles Hershey Kisses, would you please make a bag for us? The problem with those types of materials is that they are copyrighted, and you can buy the product, you can buy the fabric, and reserve it for your own use, but you're not legally allowed to profit from it. So I can't sell stuff like that, because if there's ever a complaint to Etsy will just shut me down, because if they get a copyright complaint, they don't fuck around. which sounds confusing, but the law makes it the responsibility of the copyright holder to make the complaint, which is why there's so much Disney stuff all over the internet, because the platforms don't have to take it down unless Disney directly complains about it. But if I were to do a Hershey bag or Disney or anything like that, and they were to complain, they were to put in a copyright strike, I could find myself without a business. And they don't warn you. I understand. That's why I said resembles. Oh, yes. If it resembles, I'm happy to do it. I haven't seen anything like that yet. I've got a few fabrics that resemble. And as long as it's not such a close resemblance, basically what it comes down to is, let's see if I've still got it. I should still have it. I know I've got it. Where did I put it? Is it up here? No. I don't have it. I've got to have it. I have got to have this. I know I've got it. Where did I put it? This is my super stash over here. Nope, I do not have it. Basically, the selvage, yeah, here it is. Okay, well, this is not the one, but this is called the selvage. This is the outer edge of the fabric, right? And on some of these fabrics like Disney, it will say not for commercial use. And if you use it anyway, that's how you get in trouble. The number of people that think there's this thing called first sale doctrine or something that means that if I buy something, I can legally resell it. Which you can do under the right circumstances, but people think that they can buy these copyrighted fabrics and make whatever they want, and that it's legal. It's like, well, you're not going to jail for it, but it's not legal. And if they complain, they can come along. They can, by the time they're done suing you, you don't have, even if you win the law case, by the time you're done paying your lawyers and shit, you don't have a house. This is my super stash. Sometimes I get opportunities to get fabrics that are in small pieces like this, little remnants and stuff, right? So when I get them, like, see, that's all I've got. That's all I've got of this fabric. It's the only piece of fabric that I have that looks like that. So what I do is I set it all aside, and then every now and again, I will swing through, grab a bunch of it, and make some bags and get them up in the shop. This is sometimes some of it or like, okay, like this one's not a favorite. This one is not a favorite, right? So if I am looking to make a sample for something, like, oh, I want to try this design and see what it's doing, right? I want to try a design. I want to try this, but I want to do it with, okay, trying something new, you need to do it with the same quality and style, like so cotton, a piece of cotton, 100% cotton, quilting cotton. You don't want to do something with a cheap piece of material, and then you try it out, and then you find out I like this, and then you go ahead and do it in your good material and find out that it's not going to work. Anyway, so sometimes if I'm in the mood to do a really, really scrappy project, like that's going to be nice. That'll go nice. Oops, wrong camera. That'll go nice. It says little trucks for kids. Oh, I know you're not. Like I said, I don't know if you were here for my little comment, but it's like I, for some reason, love to explain things. And I am definitely not trying to passively tell you off or anything like that. I'm just like giving the information. Do you know what I mean? I do not know how to describe this. This is just the way I am. It's like, because I get asked this quite a bit. Oh, I wanted something unique and fun. I found several patterns. So the thing is that like that is my super stash where I keep the things that I've only got, and I'm only ever going to get access to one piece of this. So I'll save it for something special, or I will dig into them once in a while. But yeah, no, I am not in the least bit. I am not having any sort of an emotional reaction to anything that you said about that. I just like so many people don't know how it works, because so many people just don't, oh, no, I don't do that. And then they just don't want to talk about it. Then you don't get it. It's like, oh, I guess you don't like that kind of fabric. And it's like, no, there's actually a reason. And I have this thing. People are when you say, oh, Disney, and they go, well, Disney's $1 billion company. They can afford to lose some money. And here's my philosophy is that if Disney loses the right to defend their copyright, then there's nothing that I would ever be able to do to defend any of my intellectual property. So, but that's just a secondary observation. Like I said, I'm just here because I need to hear my own voice today. I like explaining shit. I really do. I enjoy explaining shit because I am a big believer in having a conversation. So no, you did not make any waves. You did not suggest anything that I am not the least bit concerned or upset by the suggestion. And I've done that. Okay. If I come across the Hershey fabric and I happen to get my hands on some, I'm happy to make you one and just give it to you. I have no problem with that, because that's not going to get me in any trouble with anybody. There's no gray areas to be concerned about. My problem is that I cannot just drop it into the shop and expect to have no problems. And I think that's where a lot of people get themselves in trouble, right? But like I've spoken to a lot of people, well, I do this and I do this and I do this, so I should be able to do that. And it's like, I get it, but the law is not on your side. And if you catch the attention of the copyright holder, you could be getting sued to the point where you lose your house. It's just not worth it. Money, I got nothing. I'm poor. Yeah. Oh, my real name is Hershey, and I've always. So is that Hershey or Hersha? Is it like pronounced like a at the end or e at the end? I keep saying Hershey because it's like Hershey, but I just assumed I didn't realize it was your actual name. I thought it was like your online nick. Hershey. That's cool. That is cool. Anyway, now we're waiting out I do not think that this tariff stuff. Okay, I know it's going to affect prices. Literally the two pronouns. Hey, I'd play with that too. I do not think I'm going to be as affected as I think I am. And don't forget, I've got this massive stash of fabric. So I keep my prices as an average based on all sorts of things. If the overall price of fabric goes up, I will just rely on that less and rely on digging into my stash more. And honestly, if I were to shut down the shop right now, I could still go in there and make like 40 or 50 quilts or whatever else I wanted. So I've got plenty of fabric. So I don't have to be affected the same way. But my God, it has been okay. So check this out. So we had now every time there's an election, especially in the States, because the States is, us versus themism, right? You don't really get the nuance of a multi-party system. So there's an election going on in the States. Everybody's freaking out. Oh, what's going to happen to the economy? They stop buying stuff. So that was like what? That was October. Okay. So that part's happening. And then the election happens. Okay, so everything kind of takes a bit of a nosedive. It is what it is, right? Then up here in Canada, we have our postal strike just before Christmas. And my God, everybody's freaking out. I was freaking out. Like, I mean, I'm okay. I was pretty chill about the whole thing, but I was also not happy about the whole thing, right? Then they get the strike sorted out. That took a month. So basically, sales are down. Sales are down because of the election. Sales are down because of the results of the election. Sales are down because we have I just went on vacation mode because I can't. My stuff, I can only really ship it through Canada Post because the minute I put this stuff in a FedEx box, it's tripling the price of shipping for me. It's just not worth it. So I go on vacation, come back from vacation mode. We're going into Christmas. And we've got all the backlog from the strike, so we're waiting that out, right? And then we've got the transition of power thing happening in the States. Everybody's freaking out about that, and I'm not judging one way or the other how anybody felt about anything. I'm just saying that the result is sales were down. Oh, I want to see what's happening. Obviously, I want to see what's going to happen next. Let's not buy stuff as much, right? So that happened. Then where are we at now? So then now we're moving into January, going into the transition of power, and then Biden starts pardoning everybody. Now, I am not an American. I am not involved in American politics. I do not understand when, where, why, and how all that happened. But I know the backlash was that a lot of people freaked out because it had never been done before. So again, I'm not criticizing anybody's opinions on what happened or why it happened, but everybody's freaking out. Oh, okay. This has a happy ending for me, so we're good. So everybody's freaking out. Everybody's freaking out about that because it's like, what the hell? They're concerned. What does this mean? What does this mean going forward? So, and again, when people are uncertain about when political uncertainty arises, regardless of when, where, why, and how it's coming from, people stop spending their money because they're like, I don't want to be I don't want to throw my money away on something if I'm gonna be possibly losing my job, whatever, right? So then all the other shit happens. So then where are we at now? So. And again, no judgment, no whatever. I'm minding my business up here in Canada, just, So then all this is happening. So sales are like, yeah, right? Which turned out to be a good thing for me because I sneeze like I'm going to throw up a lung. It's like, it's bad, right? I've thrown my neck out before. I threw my neck out, which was good news. It happens. I can't do when it happens, it happens. Okay, let's get this camera going. When it happens, and I just have to take some copium and get on with my day, right? So that part's fine, but it happened at a time where I can go, well, all this shit's happening. I'm just going to let the shop coast for a while because it was just barely limping along. So I got to recover peacefully without feeling the need to get up off my ass and do anything I didn't want to do. So that worked out really well for me. Then the Canadian Prime Minister steps down. What am I after? That's what I'm after. Canadian Prime Minister steps down, which long overdue. Let's do that. There, now you guys have some sewing to watch. Canadian Prime Minister steps down. So now, while things are settling down elsewhere, Canadians are going fucking nuts. Oh, that's why I did that. Just a second. You guys might hear some echoing. That's why. Okay. So up here in Canada, everybody's going nuts. Anybody who's been paying attention to the tariff, okay, like a lot of our American friends have been very, very, very supportive of supporting a small business in Canada and whatnot, and that was great. But you have to balance that with their own economic. This is getting crazy. This has been a crazy 6 months. It really has, since October. It's been absolutely crazy. And like I said, we're not talking about we don't do politics in this channel. Just sometimes I do, but so whatever's going on, we're looking at people are reacting to the political climate with a business response, right? Okay, our prime minister, Justin Trudeau, resigned a couple months ago. Yeah, he resigned in January, and it was good fucking riddance. Even he was a liberal prime minister, and even the Liberal Party was sick of him. One of the lowest approval ratings ever. He's been at, okay, we do not have term limits up here. He was on year 9 being in charge after having been found guilty of 11 different ethics violations. He's under criminal investigation for some of his activities in handing out government funding. Like, he is a fucking problem. At least I think he's a problem. Yeah. So it's like, and it sucks because it's like, oh yeah, I like the Liberals, but he should have never been let be in charge of them. It's like, like your party, hate your leader. It was bad. It was really bad. Anyway, he stepped down. Now, we don't have you guys have a vice president. So if the president steps down, the vice president takes over. We don't. If our prime minister steps down or something happens, then the party chooses a new leader to become the prime minister for as long as it takes to have a general election. This is what's been going on up here, right? So for as long as it takes to have a general election, that new leader is in charge. Our new leader is currently Mark Carney, who Trump can't wait to work with. So we know where his views are aligned when it comes where the tariffs are concerned. I don't really know. This guy is such a problem. But he's only a temporary leader, and we are going into an election cycle right now. And we'll have either this guy's going to get voted in to continue being prime minister under the Liberal Party, or we're going to get a conservative government. Hey, Helen. Oh, nice. I am making bags today. I'm making standard bags. I'm just turning on the camera while I hang out and chat with everybody. So anyway, so we had a crisis because they have been calling, the calls for Trudeau to resign have been happening for like over a year now. It's been fucking crazy. He is completely unfit. And that's a hard thing to say, right? Well, not hard. I don't know. Like, like I said, 11 different. I'll have to find a way to get your bags. Well, the thing is that everything, there's not going to be any tariffs on. There are not going to be any tariffs on bags coming out of Canada, at least not for a while. Not unless Trump makes a different announcement, because they don't have any he made the announcement, but they were never set up to actually collect the tariffs. So anyway, so now we've got up here, it's like, well, because Trudeau has been threatening all sorts of fucked up shit. All sorts of stuff. So, and mathematically speaking, we can't really win a trade war with the States. So posturing and getting up on his little hobby horse, screaming about how we're gonna make anybody do anything when it comes to trade. I don't know, it's hard to describe, but he anyway. So now we have different leadership coming in. We don't know what that's gonna look like yet. But here's the punchline to that fucking joke. So the punchline to that joke is that we had a postal strike that lasted for about a month back in November, December. All they did, they put it back, they did a back to work order. I think I'm keeping everything in the right order. Basically, nobody wants to spend money this year so far is what the punchline is, for various reasons. So the postal workers went on strike back in November to mid-January, and that was a big fucking mess. Took them over a month to get their shit sorted out. And that part, it is what it is, right? So what happens then is they did what's called a back to work order, where they legislated and said, yeah, we the government are forcing you to end your strike and get back to work. But they didn't. Okay, usually when they do a back to work order up here in Canada, what they usually do is go, we the government are going to pass a special legislation forcing you guys to go back to work, and we're going to provide a mediator to force you guys to the table and to force you guys to sort your shit out. And if you don't sort it out, they will make a decision for you. They didn't do that. So we've got Canada Post and the Postal Workers Union are still having the exact same argument. The reason why the strike happened is because after almost a year and a half, neither side was willing to budge on demands. So after a year and a half of no progress, they finally go on strike. Well, they're going to be in a position to strike again in May. So the election is, so we're going to get new leadership the end of this month, I think it is, and a possible postal strike almost immediately. It's like, oh my fucking God. Now, here's the thing. I just turned 60. So I really don't fucking care. Okay, I do. So here's the fun part. Okay, so all of this happened like late October, early November, right? And I was like, well, my birthday is next month. I wonder what the future of the shop's going to look like. And it's like, oh, the universe is telling me to slow the fuck down. That's how I'm taking it. It's like the universe is telling me to keep doing what I'm doing. But slow down. It's time for me to slow down and not worry about it. Because don't forget, at the same time all of this is happening, my deck is funding. My deck is funding for a hell of a lot more than I make doing this. So it's like, oh, okay. So it becomes an interesting story of the universe just gently, hello. Anyway, yeah, any online retailers, especially little ones, are not happy. I can just imagine. Like I said, I turned 60 in December. I'm 60 now. So I can just imagine if I was 40 and trying to support my family on this. You know what I mean? It's kind of that catch-22. I mean, I can sit back and go, I'm okay, I'm not affected, which is great for me. But my God, it has been a hell of a ride. I run an Etsy group for people with that, for Etsy Canada. It's for people in Canada running Etsy shops. And like I said, there's people on that group there's people in that group where that's their only income and they're doing well and don't want to see it crash and burn. And there's a lot of really upset people. Yeah, as long as it is fun for me making bags, that's okay. And I think that's what the universe was telling me. I really do. I did a couple of readings on it. And it's like, oh, and we once everything was all sorted out and done, we did have enough money left over. We had enough money left over after paying for everything else that we needed to pay off, that we actually had the money to pay off my car, which was nice. Well, the car, we've only got one car, but so that was nice. So it's like we're doing fine. I'm going to be 70 and on Social Security. I have no idea what will happen to my Social Security. So buying anything, I have to be thrifty. Exactly. We don't know. Big changes in government usually result in big changes financially for the people who live in that government. So not only am I impacted because most of the people who buy my bags are in the States, and I happen to be in Canada, I'm being impacted by the political situation in two different countries, which I suppose that's true for anybody. That really is. I think it's true for anybody. But I mean, we're going to see how all of this shakes out. Once our elections are done and we know who's going to be in charge. But what's really gratifying is that the tariffs as they apply to the general public are on hold because they don't have a way to collect them and stuff. They don't have a way to collect them, and there's a thing called a de minimis. Well, that's what it's called in the States. They call it a de minimis, and as an American, Americans do not pay taxes or duties until the value of their item, until the value of whatever they're sending. So a box is an item, right? Until the value of their shipment is worth more than $800 US, which is about 1,200 or 1,300 Canadian now. I forget. Anyway, so yeah, the average American doesn't have to worry so much. But I don't know what's going to happen if they get something in place to actually collect this, which I don't know. Like, I mean, there's a part of me that's like, tariffs and trade deficits and all of that stuff, they were an issue that was going to hit the table sooner or later. Lucky them. Yeah, because up here in Canada, I pay duty. Okay, when you're paying duties to get something across the border, you're in effect paying a type of tariff. So anybody who's paying duties is already dealing with a flavor of tariff. And once you're outside the U.S., I can only bring in, I think it's $35. It's 50. No, it's a 50 Canadian or 50. Yeah, it's 50 Canadian. $50. We pay taxes and duties on anything. We pay GST on everything, unless it's protected by a free trade agreement. We pay taxes on tons of stuff, and we pay duties on anything over $50. So it's like, okay, mathematically, you look at this and go, an American can spend $800 before they have to pay any duties on anything. Everywhere else in the world, some countries start as little as $10, and they charge duties that are equal to the amount. Yeah, we can't even afford to buy eggs from our local store. Yeah, we got to go buy eggs tonight. Our eggs are cheaper, but I do think it depends on where you are. We have a lot of chicken farms around here, apparently. But no, the trade issues were going to be hitting the table anyway, because post-COVID, everybody knew that once COVID was over, there was going to be some economic fallout. We all knew this. This is not a surprise. The only question was going to be who was going to be left holding the bag and having to deal with it. So, yeah. But anyway. But yeah, the universe is telling me that it's okay to slow down, because I got forced into slowing down, right? Like I said, vacation mode to get through this, dropped sales because of the election, going into vacation mode because of the strike, going into slow mode because my neck was not that bad. It really wasn't, by the way. Me mentioning that I racked up my neck, it wasn't that bad. It's just annoying, and you don't really want to overdo it until it's better. I do not know how to describe it. Kind of like a bit of a pulled muscle type thing, right? Anyway, so yeah, universe is telling me that to do more fun stuff. Speaking of fun stuff, mini update. Let me just finish clipping this. No, let me set this aside, because if I finish clipping this, so you know what? That's the thing. It's always the people that pay, and that is the part that's the okay. It's always the people that pay, and that's the part that makes me sick. It's always the people that pay, and making sure that people are always at each other's throats pays the most. Okay, I made this last time I came on last time I was live streaming. I made this. This was my test piece, because I did this fold over technique, so that basically I have a seam on both sides. Lots and lots of texture. Washed it, dried it, checked it out, and it's okay that it's got texture, but it didn't feel good having texture on both sides. So I went back to my, let's get this up here. I realized I didn't want to fuck around taking a lot of time, so I switched out, and I switched away from the narrower pieces, and I grabbed some fat quarters, and I made this. So this is the one where, let's see if I can get up here. This is the one where the seam is on one side and the back side is flat. So it is a one layer. It's a sheet. It's essentially a sheet. My chair does not like moving over the carpet very well. So this turned out really well. But what goes on with this? What goes on with this is you sew the two pieces together and then you fold under, and it's basically a front seam all the way throughout. Then the edging. So it's got a front and a back where the seams are. So I did have to pay attention to that to keep all the seams, all the sides with the texture is all on one side. So there's texture. I don't think you can see it very well. Is there anywhere else you can actually see it? This one's pretty big and obvious. Yeah, you can see. So this side here. So I sewed the two pieces together from the back, and then I did that. And then on this, all it is it was sewn together, and that's just the fact that the stitching comes all the way through. So and Lisa loves it. Lisa loves it. We got it all washed up. It does have that, I don't know, like, whoops, there it is. Can you guys hear it? It's got a bit of a crinkly. It definitely makes more noise than a regular sheet, but she loves it. And that's what she asked. Well, if I wash it, is it going to take away the crinkly? Is it going to fix it? It'll fix itself by the time I come back. So I finished this. I got to put on the thing right. I finished this. It's gorgeous. It's one layer. Ooh, while I'm up. I'm going to want another one in a minute. So yeah, it's gorgeous. It's all in one layer. Super, super easy to do. I still have the pieces back there. So I am going to make another one using the narrower pieces. But I also found yet another way to do those kind of seams, which I think I might do. I haven't decided yet. Because if I'm going to have a front and a back, Lisa's in menopause. Lisa is experiencing menopause. She is not happy about menopause. So she's definitely the cuddle me in a blanket type of person, but cuddling in something that's not quite so warm has been nice for her. So I'm definitely making another one. I just have to get around to it. Oh, shoot. Oh, well, that'll be fine. I'm being lazy today and putting the same stitch on all the bags, but that's how I do it sometimes. There's my computer. Don't look at how dirty those keys are. I don't eat while I'm using my computer. But yeah, so it feels nice and smooth on the one side. Nice and smooth on the one side, and there's texture on the other side, but that's not against your skin, so it's fine. And there's another method. There's another method for doing the seams, which I might do. Which if I end up, again, I'm going to try a few test pieces, but if I do it right, then the test pieces, and again, I'm not going to be using my super stash. But the test, I'll be using some of those strips. I'm gonna take some of the strips that I've already sewn into, and I'll just cut them down and sample it and see what I think first. But there's another way to do a seam. Okay, do the seam, fold it. But yeah, it worked out really nice. I was really happy. Anyway. So yeah, so now I need to think of now I need to think of things to do. Or I don't know. I'm still playing Diablo way too much. I did what's called Diablo's got a bit of a creepy element to it. It's got demons and it's kind of a problem. I don't usually have a problem getting that corner, but So it's got a bit of a you know, it's good. It's a game that started out being for young guys and stuff. It's got a bit of a creepy theme. So I created I created a necromancer. A necromancer lets you summon skeletons. Diablo 4. I have Diablo 4. So I'm playing Diablo 4 Vessel of Hatred. I've got a necromancer. I've got a necromancer character. So one of the key things he can do is summon undead to help him, skeletons and mages and golems, a golem. But I went in for what's called the Blood Wave skill. This is the part that's really cool. So that now I've got a character that's so overpowered that I can just basically do what I want in my sleep and do all sorts of stuff. Hey, Jenny. Yeah, we're just chilling today. I have a hard stop right at 4:30 because because I'm an idiot for starters. Let's start with I'm an idiot. We switched up Shayla's food. Because she was starting to get where she just basically like had diarrhea all the time and it was gross, right? And we realized, okay, something's got to give. So we basically switched her over to be exactly. I am just making bags today. I am just making a small run of standard size drawstring bags. So anyway, we switched up Shayla's food, which is fine. But what we did was we switched her out and we said, okay, the dogs have been on different diets forever, and we just said, you know what? She's a 13-year-old dog now. She's starting to get digestive stuff. And it's starting to become a problem. So why don't we just switch her over to essentially whatever Bruno's eating? Because she usually turns her nose up at kibble. She doesn't like kibble very much. But we noticed a few weeks ago, we noticed that she was showing interest in, because we water down Bruno's food. Bruno does not chew ever. So we put a little bit of water in his food just to soften it a little bit not to completely saturate it, but just to soften it enough so it's not going to scrape his throat going down. Which, if you've read anything about dogs who scarf their food, giving it to them dry can eventually cause throat abrasion and injuries as it builds up. But anyway, that's a whole other piece of paranoia. So Bruno and Shayla are eating the same food now, which means that we're going through Bruno's food twice as fast. Bruno's. Does she still have teeth, Kayla? Hi, Robin. Shayla still has all of her teeth. She's just she's old. She's getting some digestive issues. It is not a big deal. But we realized that if we could change her diet, if we realized that we could get more kibble into her diet, that she would have less issues, which is what we've done. But what I did, we're just talking about how I'm an idiot. I am just getting to it in the longest way possible is what's happening. So anyway, we've been going through Bruno's food faster now that we've got her diet switched over. And I went down. I'm like, the jug. You know, you keep the jug separate. If you have dogs, you keep the bag in one spot and the day-to-day jug somewhere else. Yeah, I was like, the jug's almost empty. I better fill it. Shit. So it's like that was that. So yeah, we have to go. Basically, if we run out of food, I can just give Shayla whatever. I can give her whatever and it won't matter. If Bruno runs out of food, we have to do all this math to calculate what he can have because he's a diabetic. He can have any kind of food. I still have teeth. They're in the bathroom. Bruno has no teeth. Shayla has a little gap now, though. She had to have two of their little front teeth out last time we took her for cleaning. It's kind of funny. Bruno's got no teeth, and Shayla's got not extra, but apparently by the time they get her to her age, they generally speaking have less teeth. So her teeth are super healthy. His teeth are super gone. Anyway, with Bruno being a diabetic dog, we have to be a lot more careful. Not, like I said, not what we give him, but the amounts. So if it's like, he's out of food, we can't just open a can. That could screw up his insulin. So it's like, shit. So now we have to go out. We have to go out. We don't get to dick around because I've got enough. Because I went to go get the food, and I managed to. Yeah, well, it's not as bad. It's not as bad as it seems, but I do them like this. I match the colors, right? So that I don't have to be in there. I don't have to be in there changing to different color threads. I just go and it's done. Now, if this was like say a light purple or something like that, then I would set them aside like this, because then after these are done, I'm going to fold them and then finish them. So this I could just finish them and get them done. But if I was doing multicolors throughout here, then I would just save it all in a big pile and trade back to black and then finish them later. But anyway, yeah, these are all going in the shop. This is for the shop. But yeah, so we have to go out for food, but Lisa also has something going on that starts at 6. So we got to be home. So I actually can't do the long 2-hour goodbye today. I'll say goodbye now, and then that way in an hour and a half, that's about the right timing. I swear to God, sometimes I should just start saying goodbye as soon as I show up. I see how you can make an open for a business banner or hanging pennants. Oh yeah, I could absolutely do that. That'd be really easy to do. Because all I would do is just finish them. I would finish them like this. And then I would only fold over just the top, and I would put the string right in it and sew it into place. Just keep going. But yeah. Whoa. That shifted. There we go. I've got a little tiny tape measuring thing right there. If I think something shifts, I can always double check. But yeah, so basically this is my year to actually slow down a little bit. And I don't know if slow down is the right word, but it's like, don't pressure myself to maintain certain minimums and stuff like that. Like, if something comes up and I don't post new stuff for a couple of weeks, that's fine. Because the universe has went and beat me about the head and shoulders with that. It seems like all of this shit happened just to tell me to slow the fuck down. I haven't checked your Spark shop lately to see what's new on there. I was interested in a new pattern and colors. I haven't done a lot lately. Because being stuck waiting out all the stuff that's going on, I'm technically still waiting out the Canadian election because we have no idea what's coming next. It's going to very much depend on who wins the election as to what path Canada is going to be on. So, and Canada has never been Canada has never been a very friendly place for small businesses. So we'll see. They said they were a limit. We have what's called a carbon tax up here. They said, "Oh, we're removing the carbon tax." So the first thing BC did, and BC has their own separate carbon tax. Don't ask me why. They said, "We're going to take out the carbon tax, give Canadians a break." So the first thing they did was jacked up the price of gas by 20 cents a liter. And then now that it's come back down, they're like, "See, we saved you guys money." It's like, no, you didn't. You just switched the way you're taking it. I love governments. Keep everybody at everybody's throats while they play fucking games and we all pay for it. But that's just me. Hi, Cece. But like I said, the universe reminded me that I'm 60 and I'm allowed to start slowing down. So it's like, okay, this makes sense. So what else we got going on? So yeah, I got to go buy dog food today. That's the big adventure of the day because like I said, it's not that, that's interesting. It's not that Bruno can't eat whatever's available, but it definitely means we can't give him it. We have a lot of math to do to switch his foods, but he can eat anything. It's catch 22. But yeah, if you have a dog that scarfs, if you have a dog that eats way too fast and doesn't chew, have you always lived in Canada? Yep, I was born in Canada. I am Canadian. But no, if you have a dog that scarfs and tends not to chew, just and I don't mean you don't need to put in 2,000 gallons. Just put a little bit of water in, give it a shake, let it sit for 2 or 3 minutes, and it makes it soft enough on the outside. Buy some stuff. That's okay. Nobody owes me shit. It's fine. But yeah, getting a little layer of water on their food. And it does, and it's like I said, you don't have to put on 5 gallons of water and let it soak for 4 hours. All I do is I get his food ready, I give it a quick swish, set it on the counter, and of course I've got to get him an insulin. I have to get his needle ready for his insulin. So I put like a little bit enough water to coat his food, set the dish down, get his insulin ready. That takes a couple of minutes, and then by the time I'm back, his food is just the outside layer of the food has been dampened enough that it's not going to scratch his throat going down. Makes a huge difference. Somebody Lisa knows had an issue with that. Their dog their dog was a scarfer. This is why I decided to do it. This is why I got paranoid about it, to be honest. The dog was a scarfer, and because of that, and got a little older. I bet you put more preparation into Bruno's food than Lisa's. Sometimes, yep. I don't soak hers in water. We eat out way too much. We eat out way too much. There's not a lot of preparation that has to go in most meals. But yeah, no, she this friend of hers, her dog was a scarfer, and also had a slight tendency towards reflux, which dogs do. Dogs gack all the time, right? And eventually it just ruined the dog's esophagus to the point where she had to feed her with a teaspoon over the course, teaspoon at a time over the course of hours just to get this poor dog to eat. It was horrible to watch. But could have all been prevented if she'd have. I'm not assigning any intent. I didn't particularly care for this friend very much, but I will not blame her for something she didn't know about. She did not even know about this until it was too late. So it's like, but once Bruno was a scarfer, and then he wasn't, and then he became a diabetic and became a scarfer again, and then we started soaking his food because it's like, well, we can't switch him back into we can't switch his foods because the change of diet means change of insulin means a different, much bigger problem. So we just started doing that, and it's been beautiful. It's been working great. Yeah, I was stupid with my Chihuahua. She loved to scarf down hot dogs or pretzels, then throw them up in the dog run or in my carry bag at happy hour. Exactly. Dogs are weird. Bruno used to be a scarfer when he was young. Well, okay, Bruno has a history. He was a scarfer when he was younger, right? And so he didn't have he didn't develop diabetes until he was 5. So we got past that by just always keeping food down. It's like, oh, I don't have to scarf. So he just stopped. He would just go over and nibble as he got hungry, and that was great. And it was fine. There was always some kibble down. And so once we started doing that, he stopped scarfing. He stopped scarfing, started chewing, taking his time. No issues. Absolutely. This is great. Wonderful. Awesome. And then he became a diabetic, and one of the symptoms of diabetes is to be hungry all the time, even when you're not really hungry. So he got back into scarfing, and from then on, it's like as soon as we found that he was a diabetic and that we weren't going to be able to stop it, it's like nope. I am not putting him through what the friend's dog went through. So dampening the food going forward. If you leave kibble or food out, do you have pests? I found I was feeding roaches and mice. We're up on the 3rd floor. We are up high enough. We are up high enough in the building that it's just not realistic we just don't get bugs this high up. But we did make it a point of picking up the food regularly, not leaving it out. Like we would put it down in the morning, but we would also there wasn't I mean there was 2 dogs, but yeah, we didn't have a lot of rodent problems, so we got lucky that way. But we're not really living. I guess now there's rats in the gully. I know that for a fact. When we were living in our old place, when we first got it, we lived in a place that didn't really have a lot of rats or rodents or anything. It was just far enough away from the city for the city center that we'd have to worry about it. Then we were living in a condo, and now we're also living in a condo, both on higher floors. Not high yet, the 3rd floor. This is the top floor of this building. So yeah, we got lucky that way. Do you know what causes dog? I have no idea. It for dogs, it can just spontaneously happen. It usually happens around the age of 5. As long as you can keep them eating normally, they're like Bruno's 11 now, so he's been a diabetic for more than half of his life now, and he's really stable, except for the teeth. The teeth is Chihuahuas are notorious for having crappy teeth to begin with, and then diabetic dogs are notorious. You know, they if you're diabetic, you have sugar in your saliva and stuff like that. So, but between the lovely genetics of a Chihuahua's teeth and just his mouth marinating in sugar all the time, it was not a surprise that he was going to lose his teeth. But yeah, he's been. I'm type 2 diabetic. I'm a type 2 diabetic. Lots of lovely, not a lot of pills, but yeah. It's like, hey, you're 50. Here's some pills. Our little dog would nibble all day, and then we introduced a bigger rescue puppy, and now the little guy eats his food really well. Yeah, well, when before Bruno became a diabetic, Shayla's a nibbler. She is a nibbler, and as long as there was a steady stream of food down, Bruno was a nibbler. But then he became a diabetic, and boom, right back to as soon as, like thinking back, we can probably tell right when it started, because he was just suddenly starving all the time. Didn't matter how much we had to start picking up the food because he was just going through it too fast. And then like a month and a half later, we find out he's a diabetic. But now, Shayla's actually, and the funny thing is that Shayla's always been the one with the eating issue. Shayla, I call her all sorts of names, but I call her my little eating disorder puppy because she does have an issue when it comes to food. If she doesn't like the food, she's happy to just not eat for 3 or 4 days until you get with the program and give her what she wants. That's what her history was. So, because she came to us malnourished and underweight and used to the sensation of hunger to the point where it didn't bother her. So I was like, no, I know I'm hungry, but I just don't care. So I won't eat until I can't eat. Yeah, she made herself really sick a couple of times just trying to hold out for treats. So she's always been the challenge. Yeah, I like doing this little trick. Where I do them in a section like this. Because once I get the top one done, the second one is just line it up and keep going. Line it up, keep going. It's a lot. It's kind of that thing. If you're making a bag, then it's fine. But if you're going to make a batch, then you really, really want to have a couple of little tricks on hand. It's like this with anything. Anything that you're doing, whether you're, I don't know, like anything that can speed you. If you're doing something in multiples, anything that you can do to speed up the process or avoid delays between steps, really, really see it's the overall. I mean, I'm only saving 5 or 10 seconds a bag, but when you look at the number of bags I can end up making in a week, I've saved myself, on a really busy week where I'm just going gung ho, I can save myself a good 2 or 3 hours actually when it comes to cutting and trimming and ironing and doing all the things. There we go. So Oh my God. My problem is that I'm a sweet tooth. I have a sweet tooth all the fucking time. And it's, yeah, I'm a problem. But my numbers are really good though. That's the thing about type 2 diabetes. And apparently there's different kinds. And there's one kind that's related specifically to menopause. And that's where my diabetes showed up. But I think I got lucky because I've known people that have had significant issues with their diabetes. And I don't, and as far as anybody's, I mean, I've shown no signs of any of that. So yeah, I have a sweet tooth. I finally discovered a salad that I saw a post a couple weeks ago asking what to do. You dread seeing in salads. My answer is the greens. Oh my God! You know what? I used to make salad bars for the kids. We would have a salad bar. What do we have for dinner, Mommy? I'm making a salad bar, and I would just cut up a ton of fruit, a ton of vegetables, a ton of whatever stuff that they liked, right? And then they would just get a bowl, put lettuce, like one leaf, in the bottom, and then make themselves a salad. And creamy Caesar. Cheese, apple, and creamy Caesar on top. And you got a salad that any kid will, well, okay, maybe not apple. Not every kid likes apples, but yeah. Taking the greens out of a salad. Nope, that is not. Every now and again. There it is. Basically, what I do is I sew, and then I make sure that there's one stitch, at least one stitch between, right? This one here, it's fine, but I can't really use these. I can't really use these scissors because they're too thick and could snag the fabric. So I'm just getting in between with a handy dandy thread cutter. Stitch ripper. There we go. I should have had the stitch ripper out in the first place. Oh, absolutely. Steal away. Oh my God. That was my favorite way to get kids to eat. Now, the thing is that what you got to do though, because we would have a rule. Well, you have to have lettuce or it's not a salad. Well, you know, like you have to have a little bit of, so the carrots and the little bit of celery but and then the trick is when you see them putting like the bacon bits and the cheese, and there's 4 pounds on there, you got to turn a blind eye to that. Turn a blind eye to just how much bacon bits a child, real bacon or whatever, but turn a blind, bacon or chicken or whatever thing you're going to do. Turn a blind eye to how much of that they can that they can fit into their salad. But now, and my kids both went through. There we go. My kids both went through enough of a stage of being picky eaters. Another thing they really liked was nachos. You know how I would make nachos? My favorite way to make nachos, and I never lied to them that I was doing this, is I would take all kinds of veggies because we would do I would make the nacho sauce, right? Or I would do the same thing for spaghetti too. Is I would just puree the shit out of a bunch of vegetables and add them to whatever sauce I was using. Cook the sauce a little bit. Let it simmer for a little bit. It does 2 things. You basically do a basic spaghetti sauce, whatever your idea of a basic spaghetti sauce is. Go absolutely fucking nuts on. Well, not absolutely. You start low and build your way up. You put in the vegetables, right? You put in the vegetables. You puree the vegetables, and then you're going to simmer it. And then what you do when you're simmering it, this is the trick. This is how you make this work. Whatever it is that you do, and whatever vegetables you choose to add, you have to puree them so they're not really all that visible. And then you have to simmer the sauce because 2 things. Vegetables release water, and kids don't like watery sauces. And if you simmer it for a while, then any of the pieces and bits that are in there will no longer have the individual flavor. So you puree up a bunch of carrots, and now you've got a few little nurdles of carrots sitting in there, right? And they can see it. But when they bite it, they're not going to taste it the same because it's going to have a chance to blend its flavors. And it's such a small piece, it only takes, well, like I said, you simmer it just enough to thicken it a bit. What's going on? That's what's going on. You simmer it just enough to thicken it a bit. And then, thicken it to the texture that you like. But like I said, even if you're only simmering it for 10 minutes, it's going to be enough to take those little itty bitty microscopic pieces of vegetable and flavor them and remove most of the vegetable flavor. I had so many ways to, and I never, and the funny thing is, I never lied to my kids that I was doing it. I never lied to the kids that I was doing it. I said, well, it's healthy. You have to have vegetables in there, but don't worry, I'll make it so you can't taste them. And they thought that was just amazing. So we would have nachos. We would have spaghetti, nachos, spaghetti, salad. Yeah, I got them to eat a bunch of stuff. Like I said, I never lied about it. I just told them that, well, the vegetables are important, but don't worry, I'll make sure you, because then you're really leveraging their trust in you, right? It's like, well, I'm not lying. I could just lie to you. I'm not going to lie to you. I want you to, I want you to trust me. I'm not going to lie, but trust me, I don't think you'll be able to taste these. Then you put in the onion, garlic, whatever they like. The problem is always when you get a kid that doesn't like spices in their foods, because when you put in a whole bunch of Italian seasoning or shit like that to make it spicy. Oh yeah, my kids my kids don't want kids. I need to find somebody and adopt their kid. Can I adopt you so I can be your grandma to your kids? That's not creepy, right? That would not be creepy. But yeah. And I'll tell you right now, my niece was super picky. Dinner time at her mother's house was fight time. Like, it was crazy. Like, my sister trying to force my niece to eat, my niece just sitting there crying. It was bad. She'd come over to my house and it's like she would eat. I had no problem, and she was still picky at my house. I just didn't turn it into a fight, and she, I don't mind cooking spaghetti 3 days a week if I can do it my way and make it healthy so that kids are getting a well-rounded meal. And then there's a lasagna, and then there's a lot of stuff you can give kids that's really, really healthy, and they think that they're just getting away with something. I used to make homemade pizza all the time. Same deal. Puree vegetable into the. Yeah, you can add a lot of veggies in tomato sauce. That's true. You never know what tomorrow will bring. But that's okay. Honestly, fewer people are having kids these days, and with how overpopulated the world is, I don't think I should be complaining. But it would be nice. Having a grandchild would be nice. But that's okay. But yeah, my niece will come over. We do it. And that's the funny thing. Like, I mean, kids are interesting. Kids are weird. It is Czechoslovakian because it's my ex's last name. When we separated, the kids had his last name. I wasn't particularly too attached to my last name, so I just decided not to bother changing it back, because you can do that up here. When you divorce, when you separate or divorce, you have no legal obligation to change your name in one direction or the other. So yeah, when I want to keep, it's tricky enough to be a single mom, especially 20 years ago. So it was like, I'm going to keep the same last name as the boys. And then, like I said, I wasn't too particularly attached to my last name. And then Lisa and I got together, and she wasn't particularly attached to her last name. And again, it's easier if everybody in the house has the same last name. So she took my last name. So now we're both Papezes. But yeah, the name's Czechoslovakia. It was like Papa Dazu or something like that. It's some weird name. And my ex's family came in through Ellis Island, and I'm not sure how popular this bit of trivia is, or whether how well known. But back then in the States, people coming in through Ellis Island, the people that were taking down the toothpicks and water. Yeah, you'll eat whatever I cook. But coming in through Ellis Island, if they couldn't pronounce your name, they would just give you one. They would just say, "Okay, well, we can't pronounce that, so this is your name now." So I can't remember what they said their actual name was. But when they came in, nobody could pronounce it, so they said it's this, and that was it. That was how the family name got changed. So they're not really particularly excited about. Yeah, when we got married, I could do that right now. I could contact my bank right now and say, "Oh, I'm going by this now." And as long as I am willing to be identified formally by my real name, I can get a credit card in whatever name I pick. It's just the way it works. But no, we could have changed our names to whatever we wanted, and it wouldn't have been an issue. But like I said, we just wanted to keep the same name as the boys. It's like, having a family with two moms, and neither one of us has the same last name as our kids me not having the same last name as my kid was already going to create problems, but neither of us having the same last name as the boys would have created even more problems. So that just was not really. But it's a simple, easy process to change your last name. But I mean, like I said, I was never really super attached to my maiden name anyway, so I'm not concerned one way or the other. And then don't forget the trivia. Don't forget more trivia about me finding out that that's not even what my name should have been in the first place, because he wasn't my real dad. Which was kind of a big, actually, that was kind of I'm 35. I'll be your grandchild if you cook like that. Okay, come on over. You're about the right age, because I'm 60. No, wait. No, I'm 60. You're going to have to just be one of my kids. So I'll have to integrate you into the family traditions, and then you owe me a child. I don't know. Yeah, because my oldest is only 33. I waited till a little later to have my kids. But no, that's just all trivia and shit that don't matter. Funny thing is that somebody with my maiden name actually bought a deck. I was like, "Oh, hey, look at that!" This with a different spelling though, so definitely not somebody I'm actually related to. It's like, "Oh, okay. I wonder what branch of the family tree you fell out of." Sort of like the Puppus, which is the alternate for the high priest, like knowing that Lisa and Peggy are high priestesses of tarot. I'll take it. I'll be fine with that. It'll be okay. Oh, my neck just cracked. You ever do that? Yeah. For me, that just feels really good when that happens, because I sneeze all the time, so. I don't know what's going to happen. I think that's how I'm going to die. I think I'm going to wake up one morning when I'm like 105, and I'm just going to have a really big sneezing fit one day, and my head's going to come off. My maiden name, I found out, was something else entirely because of Ellis Island's changes from Reichard to Richard. Also finding out a tad German when we were confused with Welsh. Oh my God. Yeah, like the family history. Like I said, I found out, I did an ancestry DNA test, found out that my dad is not my bio dad. It's very unlikely that he even knew. Yay, mom. Anyway, the family name on that side, the family name was like von Konacht. And and then it was like, it's been changed over and over and over again for like, apparently that last name, the Van Kunit last name, apparently traces its way back to some minor knight in the 1200s in Switzerland. But that it 800 years later, it just becomes an interesting piece of trivia and not something that actually is going to make a difference in anybody's life. And like I said, the name Pepez is also a shortening of somebody else's name. My grandkids and their friends love everything I cook, and being at our house, they are here every chance they get. We let them be teenagers, sing, dance. It's loud, but they have fun. I like a loud house. It's funny. I like a loud house, but I'm living in a very quiet building, so we don't get to be loud. But that's what headphones are for. Put on the headphones, crank it up, have a good time. We have a few kids in the building, but not many. I like living in a condo an apartment building, but I never knew that they were called condos until I came out here. But anyway, living in a condo. I guess the difference between an apartment building means it's all rentals, and a condo means that most of the people own their units. I don't know. Anyway, there's a lot of benefits to living in a condo, but there's also some disadvantages, like, noise. But I'm not super noisy. I'm not super noisy personally, but I don't mind. I don't mind when it gets noisy. But when you're in a condo, you don't want to listen to other people's noise. Yeah. Oh, you a kid? Yeah. I'll trade. Give me a grandkid. I'll give you some food. Yeah, I actually really like cooking. But now that it's just the two of us, it's like, it's kind of funny because I like having people to cook for. And when you've only got one, when it's just the two of you, and like tonight, we're probably going to grab McCrap tonight because we've got to get out and we've got to get the dog food. Like I said, Bruno's a diabetic dog, so it kind of changes. You can't just I'll open one of the cans that we have in storage and just give that to them. It's like, nope, you won't, or Bruno's sugar's going to go all fucking weird. So we're going to do that. And then we're probably going to grab McDonald's on the way home, which I don't mind. I'm a junk food junkie, so I don't mind McDonald's, but I do prefer to cook. But oh, there you go, Peggy and Lisa's boarding school for witch kids in tarot. Yeah, when I hear loud people in restaurants, I theorize that they're from large families where everyone had to shout at the table to be paid attention to. It's funny, I have no problem with noise as long as I know everybody's happy. It's like when you like we have a kid. Oh my God, screamy downstairs. This kid, I don't think he lives at home anymore. I think he's only home for visits once in a while. When the family downstairs from us moved in, one of their kids, McDonald's is horrible for you, but then again, it's better than not eating at all, right? We called this guy Screamy because you could hear the whole everything up here just rattled all the time, and he's downstairs. Now, if you've ever lived in a condo, the biggest noise usually comes up to down. He was stomping around so bad downstairs that it was rattling all the way up. And, he was pounding on the floors so bad that it was vibrating back up, slamming doors, and we could hear it all up here, right? And then getting on his computer. We knew this, getting on his computer that's by a window with the window open, screaming at his video games. Screaming. I'm making sloppy joes for dinner. Yeah, sloppy joes are good. Now you just puree a couple of carrots into it. Let it simmer for 10 minutes before you serve it so the taste blends in, and then honestly. And you can get your kids to eat vegetables no matter. If you can get your kids to willingly eat vegetables, then it's not necessarily worth screwing with them to get more vegetables in. But man, it was a great start for my kids. They couldn't stand vegetables. But yeah, Screamy downstairs. Oh my God, this guy was just unstuffed cabbage. Ooh. What was the thing I used to make? Cabbage soup. Some sausage, cabbage, can of tomatoes, can of corn. Super simple. It was all canned stuffs. Not a ton of cabbage. And then just water, a can of tomatoes, some water. Stir it all up, boil it for about 10 minutes or something like that. I can't remember. It was really good. It was really good, even though it was something I wouldn't normally eat on my own. I used to have an upstairs neighbor who sounded like she was tap dancing with an elephant. She was followed by someone who dragged a steamer trunk across the floor every night at 2 a.m. Yeah. Oh, screaming. Like I said, super loud all the time and all hours of the day or night. Oh, 3 o'clock in the morning, cur thump, smash, stomp, 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 slam, and then back to screaming out the window. Because it's like, it's not like you're far enough away, right? Like, I mean, he's screaming out his window and your window is just 6 feet above it. So it was like, yeah. So we're not the complaining type. Like, Lisa and I get loud once in a while. Like, my God, if we're arguing about something, we can get pretty loud. Like, we don't hit or anything like that, but we can get pretty loud, just and this sort of thing. And we don't usually make a lot of complaints. Plus the dogs stomping around sometimes because they get playing and whatever, right? And we got so fed up with it, we actually made a complaint and said, we don't know what the situation is going on down there, but the stomping, the slamming, and the screaming needs to stop. But the funny thing is that I could listen to kids. I can go into a public place and listen to two kids having a screaming / laughing whatever and be like totally fine with it. It's like, oh yeah, they're getting really loud. They're having a good time. That's what kids do. But anyway, they're still down there, but we never met. This is people are polite enough in this building, but we don't really know the neighbors. A lot of them don't even speak English, so there's barriers, right? But we're not even sure who they are. But yeah. Every now and again, there's a type of loud that it's just like, oh, no, no, no. Now I have one who does calisthenics or step block exercise late at night. I haven't complained because I fear a Karen reaction will make it worse. Yeah, I don't know. You know what? I wear headphones a lot in the house. So I figure if I can't hear you over my headphones, then I can tolerate you. If I have my headphones on and I can still hear you, then there's a problem. But yeah, there's a lot. You know what? There's a lot of people. Like, we had the one neighbor that tried to complain about us, and it was like, dude, because we were in an upper lower of a house, so there's no insulation of any kind between the floors. And she tried to complain because she was just being, I don't know. And her husband actually apologized. He goes, he's really sorry. We went, yeah, it's like this is actually pretty quiet. I said, this is actually pretty quiet in terms of how upper lowers often go. So, yeah, I would prefer a house. I would prefer a big ass house full of people. That's what John lives in right now. My God, he's in heaven. But now I have to flip these later. Oh yeah, I'm still here. I'm here until 4:30. I have to have a hard stop at 4:30. But otherwise, I'm just chilling. I really I'm finishing a few bags. We have good neighbors here, actually. We really do. Like I said, we've got some language barrier issues in the building, but that's like, we're in the Vancouver area, and the Vancouver area has a very high Chinese, Indian, Korean. Yeah, we got a lot of people here whose English is not their first language, and like, there's usually somebody in the family who does speak English, but if you've come over as a housewife and your husband is the one who's working, your English is not going to be very good. That sort of thing. But always nice people, always saying hello in the hallway, that sort of thing. Like if I'm walking down the hallway and I drop something, and they're not just going to go, I don't understand you. They'll grab it and chase me down. Oh, look, you dropped this. Like, I mean, really nice people in the building, but not a lot of opportunities to get close with anybody, which is very normal it's very normal in urban areas to begin with, even more so if there's language barrier issues. So it's not a surprise, and nobody's doing anything wrong. But I should have. If I knew then what I know now, I would have taken a language class. But I suck at languages. It's bad. Yeah. I love a little house just for me, especially when I didn't have to pay for it. Well, I think that's the problem, right? I was like, there's all kinds of stuff I'd love to have if I didn't have to pay for it. Oh, I just wish the housing here was affordable, because it's not. My God. Every time you see an article, they try to tell you that real estate in Vancouver is booming right now, and it's not. Even the investors won't buy stuff anymore. We have a building down the street, at the end of the street, that way. We have a building at the end of the street that they usually do pre-sales and all sorts of weird stuff so that the building's already sold before they even finish building it, right? This building went up with this. They put up 3 buildings. 2 buildings were sold out. The third building completely empty. We have an HOA, but in 20 years, I don't even know who they are. That's a great, I am using a Janome Skyline S6. In Vancouver, they're only allowed to raise the rent once a year, and they're only allowed to raise it to the minimum that is set by the province, that's set by the federal government. So that's all they're allowed to do. And we got a good landlord. During COVID, he didn't raise our rent at all. So, but the problem that we have here is that if somebody moves out, we're paying a certain amount of rent, right? If we move out, our landlord can double the rent for the next tenant. So our rents were going through the roof. Local, rent in the area was going through the roof because people were moving. I lost my job because of COVID. I have to move out. And they move out. Landlord jacks the rent, and then next guy comes in. We've got this exact same unit in the other building was just recently rented for double what our rent is. So it's like, oh, okay. But yeah, we got a good landlord, and we have a good landlord, and we have some pretty good landlord-tenant laws that mean we can't just be arbitrarily kicked out. So, but no, we've got a building at the end of the street, and it was like they put the building up, they opened the building up, they put a banner up, 262 units now for sale. So these 262 units went for sale starting July 2022. 2022? Yes, July 2022. The building is still only a quarter full. But if you go to a real estate website, they'll say, oh, well, you better, the condo market here has completely crashed. The only people buying condos right now are either desperate people or investors looking to rent them out, and they can no longer rent them out for what they would need to get in rent to make it worthwhile. Or for Airbnbs, which are now... My apartment on other floors is 5 times what I'm paying because I've been there since the 70s. Newcomers are students from wealthy families. Yeah. Well, we're starting to see some of that here too, because like I said, we've been here almost 10 years, and that's fine. But the going rate for this area is the going rate for this area for a 1-bedroom or even a bachelor suite is going for about 50% more than what we pay right now for 2 bedrooms and like twice as much floor space. It's crazy. So we got lucky. We got lucky to get in here when we did. But no, we've got buildings. We've got like down the street, the building's only a quarter full. They've been selling these units for 2.5 years now, and they still can't fill the building up. And yet 10 years ago, if they announced a building was going up, it would be completely sold within a couple of days of the announcement. So we still have developers finishing projects, but the investors, they're not there anymore. They're because they want the unit over there. They want what was it they wanted? They wanted like $800,000 for a 2-bedroom, and we are not in the middle of downtown. We are not in some high end area that it's just not reasonable. They can't sell the units. As a senior on Social Security, I'm frozen at $617 while others pay $3,000 for the same size studio. It's crazy. Yeah, we're getting that here. We are getting that here. And you know what we're getting? We're getting this thing where somebody will rent a unit like ours, and they will curtain off this area where I am. This, like mine. They'll put a curtain up starting just before the closet and curtain off that back area, right? And then rent it out. They will take it's nuts. It's nuts. I don't know if you like a condo with a den, and the den is usually a 6 foot by 6 foot room that could either be a small office or a storage room. They'll rent that out as a spare bedroom. It's crazy. And people are so desperate, especially if you're a student, especially if you're a foreign student from out of the country and don't know any better. They're snapping these things up just to have an opportunity to live near their school. One more stitch. That's what I need to do. There we go. But a condo building. Normally a building starts selling, and all the developers run in and buy 8, 10, 15 units. They'll buy a shit ton of units. They'll rent them out for 4 to 5 years, and then they'll sell them for a profit down the road. So they're getting enough rent to cover their mortgage. And it's crazy. But now they can't. Now the investor market in Vancouver is, I think they're still buying houses or whatever. I don't know what they are buying, but yeah, the housing market here is starting to crash, and nobody's even willing to admit that it's happening. It's a little crazy, but yeah, I think New York is probably the only housing market that's as because in New York, I'm trying to remember what I read. I read an article comparing American and Canadian real estate, and even though our rents are lower, so are our wages. Our overall wages tend to be lower because you got to do the conversions and stuff, right? So like a $3,500 a month rent here is only about a $2,800 a month rent in the States after the conversion, but where's the yeah, I'm trying to recall something I read, but the earnings here are like the wages here in Vancouver are about half what they are in New York on average for the average person. But yeah, it's nuts. I want a house. That's what I want to do. I want to buy a piece of property, I told Lisa, I said, I want to buy a piece of property, put it in a compound, get a bunch of people moved in, and then start a cult. I want to start a cult. And then we can all just live like a one big ass commune, taking care of each other on the property. And just be awesome. I'd have to start my own religion, though. I think I would have to. Okay, I'll tell you right now. The weird thing about sewing is The weird thing about sewing is, especially it gets hot in this corner, so I'm in a tank top a lot, and then a piece of thread drops across your shoulder, and then starts because you're moving around. It's moving around, so then it feels like you got a bug crawling up your back. Not that I think I have bugs in my house, because I generally tend not to, but at the same time, it's like your human nature is going, I need to go find out what that thing is. So I'm like, this is the last one. I can't believe how much I've gotten done today. I thought I was going to sit here for an hour and a half and get 3 done. That's usually what happens, right? I say, I'm going to do this today, then I start. Okay. Every now and again. That's what it is. I've been getting really lucky because, like, every now and again, this will snag, and you can feel it. You feel it because it's kind of like anything that you do enough of, right? So it's like I feel it snag, and then I got to stop and do a couple of stitches from the end here just to make sure that I've got it right. But that hasn't been happening. I've been like super lucky with everything just landing where I need it to today. Last time I considered living in Montreal, I found great places in the neighborhood I wanted for about $4.50 Canadian. That was in the bush area, though, when the dollar got fucked up. Yeah. Yeah, no. I graduated high school during the Great Recession, and I don't think the economy has ever sorted itself out really, not really since then. That was the 80s. We've had periods of stability in the economy, but I don't think we've had periods of economic stability, but I don't think we've had very much. A friend of mine was looking to relocate to Canada or Mexico, and she found a 3-bed, 2-bath for $700,000 in Canada. So it was like $429 American money. Still out of it's expensive. It is expensive because okay, let's play the game and pretend that we had that Lisa and I had that kind of money for a down payment. For starters, in Canada, there's all this mathematical stuff that you have to do to qualify for a mortgage. And I'm sure most of you guys, anybody who's ever owned property knows how that works. Well, up here in Canada, you have to pass a mortgage stress test. So you have to be able to prove that you can afford your mortgage. And if the property is valued over a certain amount, and I think it's like a flat 500,000 or something, or it might be a different amount per type of house, you have to have a 20% down payment. It's like 20% of 700,000, so that's 20,000 times, it's 140,000. So if I had $140,000 in cash right now, why the fuck would I invest in a condo that isn't even in a condo that's only 25% full, because that's how badly nobody wants these units, and take on a mortgage that's going to be between $4,000 and $5,000 a month for the next 30 years. And don't forget, I'm 60. When I'm already living in a place that costs less than half that, our rent, our current rent is never. It's like Robin's place. He's paying $6 and change for his place, and the neighbors are paying $3,000. We're paying like, I forget, I'd have to ask Lisa because she's the one who does that. She's the money bag to the family. But I think we're only paying about $1,600 a month. And yet across in the other building, the identical unit we have 2 buildings side by side is in this complex. It's a complex of 2 buildings. Just went for $3,400. It's like, okay. And if we bought a condo over in that empty building that's been empty for 2.5 years, we'd be looking at a mortgage of at least $4,000 a month. If I had $140,000 in cash on hand right now to be able to pay a down payment, plus the extra $20,000 or $30,000 that you need for all of your fees and closing costs and all that shit, they can't. There's 2 things that are happening. This is okay. This is a huge, huge issue in this area. We've got a bunch of stuff that's happening here. I'll be happy to regale you with it, because if anybody doesn't mind me throwing numbers all over the place, I can tell you all about it. It's been a growing issue in this area of Canada. The Vancouver housing market has been a huge issue for a very long time now, for a whole lot of reasons. Toronto's got the same problem. But the thing is that there are still areas in Canada, and don't forget, Lisa's an American. Lisa's an American, and if I have no intention of working, right? Well, that's different, because we can't just go down with we can't just fuck off to the States. But knowing that we can kind of changes the thinking, right? Peggy Cult Unite. Oh my God, I want to be my own cult so bad. But the thing is, if we had that kind of money. The last thing I would do is invest in real estate in Vancouver, because most people that are investing in real estate are doing it for the profit. At my age, I'd be investing. I'm going to buy this condo. I'm going to either live in it or rent it out until I've built up a certain amount of equity, and then I'm going to sell it, take the money, downsize into something I can afford. There is property that I can buy right now in like Saskatchewan. Oh yeah, Lisa loves her job. There's property I can buy right now in Saskatchewan, which is a province. There's areas that I can move into right now where $140,000 will actually get me. Here's the money. Let me move in a fully paid off small house, townhouse, a condo. There's areas where that's possible. Okay. Just a second. Ooh, I've been sitting too long. Don't need that, just need that. Do. Oh, yuck. Oh, no. Okay. I got to get rid of this. Okay. There we go. That can sit there. That can sit there. This was hanging. Oh, I'm not going to bother. This was hanging over the hook where I keep my cord, and it was literally starting to stick to the wall. The most popular lesbian community area in Canada that I am aware of is Commercial Drive in Vancouver. There is a large lesbian community in Commercial Drive, but it's kind of intermixed. In Davie Street is where the guys live. Commercial is where the women tend to live. If you're up in, I'm not sure about Montreal. There's a fairly decent lesbian community in Toronto, but it's more like they live throughout the city area. And then it used to be a bar called the Pegasus, but down in Church Street area is where everybody goes to relax on the weekends. Wait a second, I missed something. Oh no, there's no way. The thing is that Canada is a global destination for investors. And we have a lot of investors now, and it gets so fucking problematic so fast. One of the biggest groups we are. Canada is a destination. Canada is a popular destination for investors. A lot of those investors are Chinese. Now, there's nothing wrong with that because our laws allow them to invest. I'm not complaining that they come over to invest. I'm not complaining about them as a people, as anything. But the unfortunate reality of Chinese culture is that for Chinese people, investing in real estate is one of their number one forms of investment. So we are also the money laundering capital of the world. So we've got people coming over here. We've got all kinds of investment fucking issues happening over here. So that is where that all falls apart. And because of where Vancouver is geographically located, so this is a matter of geography, right? But so we've got a lot of investors coming in. We've got a lot of foreign investors coming in the area because we had a foreign investor program in Canada that lasted for decades. We have a lot of foreign investors coming into Canada, but if you're a Chinese national or Japanese or Korean or whatever part of Asia, if you are an Asian investor looking to invest in the Canadian real estate market, you're going to invest in the area that is easiest for you to get to. And geographically, that is the Vancouver and Lower Mainland area. So that is the Coles Note version of what's happening here. The unfortunate problem that we're looking at in the Vancouver area is because nobody knows for sure how big this percentage is, but there's a big enough percentage of foreign investment centered in the Vancouver area that if the Vancouver area suddenly becomes unpopular because the price of property is just too high and there's no more money to be made, if the real estate investment opportunities in this area dry up, what happens to those investors' dollars? Do they stay in Canada or do they pick up their crayons and go to another growing, emerging real estate market in another country? Oh, you have a great night, Cece. I'm always around, and we're going to be learning cult stuff later. We're just having. I've got a time limit today. We'll dive into our cult later. We have to form a cult. We have to form the cult of what? The sassy dragon cult, just the cult of Peggy. I don't know. We haven't even figured out a name, so we'll figure that out later. Anyway, now real estate is way too expensive here. The only people that are buying are the only families that are buying with the help of large loans from relatives, which, okay, let's play a game. Lisa did the unicorn's journey. I did the sassy dragon. And, you know, you can just go you can spend 5 minutes on Kickstarter and recognize that we both did well financially from it. And that was it was amazing, right? Yeah, we'll do cult talk another day. We'll do cult talk another day when I don't have an end time. So the thing is that now imagine here's how the math of this works. And this is what people are, this is what nobody's, okay, they're finally talking about it, but this is what they've been pretending hasn't been happening. Price of real estate super high. We both, you know, Lisa and I, between the two decks we had a really good year thanks to those two decks. Now let's imagine that we turn around and we give it all to one of our kids so he can invest in a condo. Noble goal. I'm all for it, except the only way that we can do that is that we have now given him our oxygen mask. Because I will say that considering the fact that I did just turn 60 this year, it is a lovely nest egg to take into our future. And that's exactly what we've done with it. It's like, yeah, we made, I forget what the amount, we basically about half we got to keep about half the money by the time, no, not half. What am I thinking? Because we paid for all of that up. Okay, we paid for a whole bunch of stuff up front. So we invested early. So it seemed, okay, anyway, I'm not even gonna try and do the numbers. But we walked away with a decent amount of money. We paid off my car. We had a line of credit. We paid that off. We took care of it. So there are a lot of people that are having a good year, like we just did, and they're giving the money to their kids. That's what's happening. That's a noble goal. That's awesome. That's amazing. The cost of living here is so fucking high that if anything happened, so like I said, noble goal, have enough money that we can give it to our son so he can get started with it, because he wants to own someday, right? John, Stephen doesn't care. John wants to own his own place one day. So we give him what he needs to own his own place one day. What happens in 20 years when I'm a lot, you know, I'll be 80 in 20 years. What happens then when, well, no, we gave that all to you, son, and now it's sitting locked up in a mortgage that you can't afford to walk away from. Yeah, it helped us. You know what? Yeah. The Guana says it's great that you made money that helped you out. And it did. It helped amazingly. We put some of it into RSPs. I'm 60. It's like this could not have come at a better time for us. It has secured a lot. It has given us a lot of security for the future. You know, like, we're not millionaires. We're not going to be millionaires, and that's fine. But now we have, you know, for the first time ever, we actually have an emergency fund now. Doesn't have to be huge, but it's better than the nothing we've been running on for years, right? But here's the thing. What's going on here in the real estate market, and this is happening everywhere, not just here. It's just happening on steroids here, is that there's a saying, secure your own oxygen mask first. And it's like, if we would have turned around and said, oh, well, we're not going to pay off our car. We're not going to pay off our debts, you know, our line of credit. We're not going to put money into RSPs. We're just going to give it all to John because he needs his own place. That would be great for him. But then what happens to him in 20 years when it's like, well, you remember all that money we gave you? Well, yeah, now we need this, and this, and we don't have the money for it. So that is the long-winded version of, yeah, like, people here are giving their money to their kids to help their kids out, and then finding out that they've given, and there's no accusations for anybody here. I think the Oracle deck actually has a chance of doing better than the UJT did, because not because it's a better deck. I think it's a good deck. But I think that there's a growing interest in Oracle, and Oracle has a different mass appeal and reaches out to a slightly different audience, and pairs well with tarot as well. So I think it's going to be interesting. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this part of the blessing. Yeah, that's the thing, right? But the thing is that one thing, and I think living in this area, we've heard more than one story of like, well, I did this and I did this and I did this, but then I got laid off and now I'm fucked. And the only way I can get that money back is to ask my kid to become homeless. I can't do that, right? Oh yeah, hit that thumbs up. I want to be popular. I can't build it. I'm building a bigger, better cult, kids. We need to do that. But anyway, no, it's that thing. It's that thing. It's like there was a part for both of us that we were like, hey, you know what? Once we get, once we hit a certain stage, we might be able to consider getting a condo. And it's like we could have possibly been looking at lower price condos further out. The further you get away from the city center, the better the prices get. And we realized even something that was within our price range was going to give us a mortgage that was like triple our current rent. It's like, wait a second, that makes no sense. Triple our current, so a mortgage that's going to be like closer to $4,000 plus condo fees. It's like, oh, wait a second, I don't think we want that. But yeah, it's like we're seeing a lot of older people in this area who have helped their kids get a head start in life, and because real estate is so expensive, yeah, it's like, it's just fucking weird. And I get it. Like, okay, if we were like, this is an age thing, right? I think that if we were in our 40s and the kids were in their 20s, I think if this was like 15 years ago, then you're not thinking of your own mortality. It'll be like, of course we're going to use that to help the kids get the start they need in life. So nobody's done anything wrong. But like when you're 40, you don't stop to think about what happens when you're 60. It depends, right? Okay, when we were 40, we didn't have shit. We were poor when we were 40. When I was 40 and Lisa was 30 and the kids were still living it, we were poor. None of that was going to happen. Like, so yeah, you don't really think about it. And I think that's what's, I vote for the name to have dragons and aliens in the title. Yeah, the dragon alien cult. The alien dragons cult. Maybe we should take out the word cult, because a cult doesn't call itself a cult. That's how they get you. They get you with that subversive thing. The Aliens and Dragons Coalition. Aliens and Dragons Network. Yeah, we'll figure it out. 8 whole thumbs up. That is going to make me go viral, kids. Happy acres. Happiness is the only rule. Yeah. If you're not happy, we'll beat you until you are. That could make some of you really happy. Depends on what you're into, I guess. But anyway. No, the real estate market in Vancouver is insane. There's no way. If anybody, unless you have $1 million in the bank, I wouldn't, just no. But the interesting thing is, like I said, at one point, about 50% of the units in any development were going to investors. And now we've got buildings that have been sitting. There's another one around the corner. This is, we're right near one of the biggest transit hubs in the region. So that building should have sold out immediately, and it didn't. But we do. I don't know if they do this in the States where they do pre-sales. Here they do pre-sales. So a building, they announce, we're going to build this building, and if you want to own it, if you want to buy into it now, then we'll sell you a unit for this price. And then you put your down payment on, and you do whatever it is that you have to do. And I don't know what that is, because I've never done a pre-sale. And then when the building is built and the unit is ready, you sort out your mortgage and move in. And a lot of investors, that's when they buy in. A lot of people, that's when everybody usually buys in. So we've got a lot of buildings. We've got a lot of buildings that are being completed and 100% capacity immediately, but a lot of those buildings are still clearing out. A lot of those buildings are because it's pre-sales that are finally closing. The new buildings are just not being any new projects that are just being started now. Nobody's doing the pre-sales. You go through the pre-sales. You go past a pre-sale center, and they used to be lined up to get in. Now there's not even a car in the parking lot. But you look up a real estate video around. It gets on my nerves, right? Oh, this one. This is paracord. This is a type of paracord that I get. But it's really easy. It's really easy to switch the cord. Because if you switch the cord, you would just tie on your new cord. I'm not going to do it because I don't want to cut up my cord, but I'll show you that. I'll show you the idea. I don't know why I did that. I was overthinking. Anyway, yeah, it is like the national pastime in this area to keep an eye on what's going on with real estate. But Vancouver is at severe risk for a massive correction. But so is Toronto. I think most big cities are. Okay, see you later, Robin. Our government is going to put a pause on foreign investment due to our chronic. Where are you from, Helen? We had a pause on foreign investment, and so they had other ways to get around it. So basically, if you have a different cord you want to put on, all you would do is cut the cord, tie on your new cord, and pull it through. But yeah, we just use the same paracord for everything because we want it to be sturdy, and we want it to last. And anybody who wants to switch it out, it's easy enough to do. Oh, in Australia, yeah, we put a pause. Well, this is the thing: we put a pause on foreign investment, and amazingly, nobody's lining up at the pre-sale centers anymore. We put a pause on foreign investment. We also put a vacant property tax on. We did all sorts of stuff, but unfortunately, the people, I don't know. Initially, they were finding ways around it. Now they're just finding that they're not making the money that they used to. Because I've said this before, but it's a ladder game. It's a ladder game. So house gets built, and the investor buys it. We go, house gets built, the investor buys it, right? Then they sell to this investor. Then they sell to this investor. It's hot potato, right? But they always rely on the idea that once they get up into here, that sooner or later, some desperate local is going to take the property off the market. All these guys have made their money. They're making profit until it maxes out. And then they're taking their profit, reinvesting into more units and doing it again and again and again. So, and some of these guys are hanging on to it, and some of these guys are hanging on to these properties, renting them out, selling them for a profit later, and other stuff as well. Thing is that they're running. The prices are now so high that there's no desperate local. There's no desperate long-term buyer waiting to snatch it off the market once they've gotten all their profit out of it. So the problem is the current. Okay, this is my observation and strictly my opinion. Obviously, tent sales are going to soar. I'll tell you right now that how disgusting is this? We could curtain off this area, or put up fake walls, or do whatever we want to do. We could put an ad in the paper right now, and we could rent out my bedroom for $1,500 to $2,000 a month for just the bedroom. Buy your own groceries. You have to buy your own groceries. You have to chip in for utilities, and it's $1,500 a month. And then we could curtain off this area and basically do the same thing for almost as much. That's how bad the housing market is here right now. It's crazy. But anyway, it's my opinion. Do you ever work with leather? I have worked with leather. Leather is every single fabric is a little different. So I have worked with leather. I don't like working with leather nearly as much. It's leather. The thinner leathers I've never tried to work with a thicker leather. I've worked with a few of the thinner ones that you can just sew through, and they're fine. But when you sew through leather, there's a really good chance that the hole that you make will rip into the next hole, and they just kind of like perforated paper. They can do that. So it's really easy to damage leather while you're sewing it if you don't have the exact right whatever. And I've never had enough practice. So yeah, ask me other questions. Let's stop bitching about the housing market. It's kind of funny. It's one of those things because we're in a decent position right now, but if for some reason our landlord ever had to ask us to leave, we'd be screwed. I mean, we'd be looking at least double the rent we're paying now, and maybe being in a double the rent, probably something smaller, and very likely not something that would be tolerant of me sewing, at least not to the degree that I do. So I think that's why I'm so overly invested, even though I'm currently not impacted by it. But yeah, a lot of families here are putting their money into helping their kids get their first houses, and then getting themselves in trouble down the road because our government is making it expensive for people to own investment properties by adding extra taxes. It is so that our kids have a better chance of owning their own home. Yeah, we're going through the same thing here. We are going through the same thing here, and it's getting nuts. It's probably too fragile for. No, leather's great. It's like I said, if you don't know exactly what you're doing, and I would need a learning process. If you don't sew it properly, you end up making perforations, which becomes. So you can end up with a really if you don't know exactly what you're doing, you can end up with a pretty weak seam, which I haven't worked with it enough to get good at it. So I just haven't worked with it. I think that's what you meant when you said fragile. I just have to like overstate everything. It's my job. It's part of being a good cult leader. But anyway. Now I'm closing in 4:17. I have 10 minutes left. I'm not going to get these bags done in time, but that's okay. It's kind of one of those things. I do the bags. It's like I can do them in my sleep sometimes. It just feels like I'm just, yeah. Oh, just a second, baby. Oh, there you are. Then what's that? I thought I heard a noise. I didn't hear a noise. Oh, this one. Yeah. This one's really nice. It doesn't have a lot, but it's got like that right there. It's ever so slightly metallic. It's actually pretty metallic. It's actually got quite a bit. It's actually got quite a bit of metallic. It's just hard for it. You don't know it's there, and then suddenly there it is. It's like, yeah, it's a nice one. Yeah, I got 12 minutes. That's the thing. If I go too fast, I make my hand sore. Well, you know what? I'll have to say goodbye in a couple of minutes. I think I might still have one or two of these left to do. But I have to be done at 4:30 because, like I said, Lisa's leaving. Right, Lisa's making a point of leaving right on time because we have to go get dog food. We don't. By the way, I do not burn the ends of these. Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah, this does. What's the deck again? The Black Tarot. Yeah. I think that's what people bought it for last time too. I do not. A lot of people come back. A lot of people would, because this is like a nylon. Of course, you can't see it. Let's go with this camera. I do not burn these ends because some people like the way it frays and some people don't. But if you ever decide that you want to fray the end, just trim it a little bit so that it's not too insane, and just whoop, 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 whoop. Don't sit there melting it. Just do it very, very quickly, And then is because once it's had a light scorching, it'll stop. It won't fray anymore. But you can definitely do that on your own. Obviously, it's your bag. If you ever buy a bag, it's yours once you get it, right? But you can scorch you can melt. I don't melt the ends because some people like it when it starts to fray and think that and they enjoy the effect. You can scorch it after the fact, but you can't unscorch it. Yeah, the black tarot. Forgot about that one. I'm bad for remembering what deck is what. I've got a few decks that I really like. Obviously, Sassy Dragon, but Lisa's the collector of the family. She's the one who keeps track of this stuff. This one, I forget what people are. This is weird. This is metallic, but it's almost like matte as well. It's hard to describe. That is, I believe, the very last of that fabric. That's why my next project is my magic stash over there. I've got to get into my magic stash. My magic stash. I've got to get into there and get some of that used up. I try not to let the stash get too big, but it always does. It always gets ahead of me. 2 left. I might be able to do this. I might just get it done. Yeah, I really like this. I really like this cord. As soon as I found this cord, it was like, this is just me making sure if you just, that way I know I've got the right ones. Because if I pull and it's not if this isn't part of the same one, then it's just going to slide out, start sliding. Yeah, we got to form our own cult. We got to do a cult. A cult would be fun. It's going to be a lot of fun. I think the rest of the year is going to be a lot of fun for me. It's been interesting. Looks like an X-ray of a sun. Oh, it does. I forget. I think it's supposed to. I think it is supposed to be like a nod to mandalas. I forget what the name of this fabric was, and I don't have the selvage, so I can't grab it and see. Every fabric has a name, and it's not going to be listed here, but they tell you who the manufacturer is, and then what the title of it is. Oh, those days. Two more. That's what I couldn't figure out why. I got up for just a minute there. And I was like, yeah, I don't know. I can see it though. Now that you said it, I can see it. You know those dot painting? Oh, a dot mandala. That's what it looks like to me. But I do think it had something to do with mandala. When you go to the fabric store, you'll find like 10 different fabrics, all from the same family. Oh, I've got one more piece that's over here. You'll find like 10 different fabrics, all from the same family, right? The same collection. And I believe something about mandala was in the name of that collection. But I'd have to go look it up. Oh, hey, I wonder if this has got. Just a second. I wonder if it's on this piece. No salvage. I got one piece left. One piece. That's for a large. Mind you, it's the large. The large is awesome. The large can be any size I want. It's like if something comes up and I decide I want to make it smaller, I can do that. The feathers are a lot of fun. I've still got a little bit of it left. I always try to keep at least a little bit of fabric around that has feathers on it. And I don't know why. I don't want a big collection of all feathers, but I always try to keep some feathers around. I've also got this one here. See? Feathers, more feathers. I've got that one. I've got a blue one. Yeah, all I do is I just hook my thumb over here and give it a little whatever, and whichever one starts to shorten is the one. I have a bird deck from Lisa Hunt that needs a new bag, and feathers would be a good complement to her artwork. Oh, that's cool. Let me just, okay, I will do the last bag in just a minute. I've got to go, but just a second. Just a second. Let's see if it's still there. I'm getting sniffy. Oh, it's been a weird day. Is that it? Yeah, that's it right there. Just don't forget, guys. I never remember to remind you guys of this. But if you're gonna go to if you're gonna get anything in the shop, that's FAFO 15% off on anything that you guys see in the shop. The light one, this is the only piece I have left. And it's, oh, I have another one. I have 2 pieces left, but they're both narrow. They might not even be big enough for a small bag. That's the problem is, I'll buy a piece of fabric. Yeah, that I've had that up for a long time. I just keep forgetting to remind you guys that it's there, because I mean, I don't want to create this thing where you guys, oh, buy from me. I don't want to be salesy. But then I forget that sometimes you guys do buy stuff from me and you need a discount. So, okay, Hershey, see you. Oh, no, you're saying bye to me because I'm supposed to go. I've got 3 minutes. I'm doing this last bag. I'm doing the last bag. I'm doing the last one that I'm going. Because this will only take a second. It only takes a second when there's one of them. It takes hours when there's dozens of them. This isn't a huge batch, but oh yeah, absolutely. Share the code, keep it, share it, do whatever. I don't care. And it's a permanent code. It's staying in the shop. If for any reason, it has no expiry date, but if you have any problems or need any help getting that code through, just let me know. Okay. I am finishing these last 2 knots, and then I'm going to go because I have to, or I'm going to get in trouble. I know Lisa still needs time to clean up. And Lisa's done right at 4:30, but she only lives 7 minutes. 7 minutes. What's going on there? There we go. Yeah, thanks for the code shipping. Oh yeah, what's my shipping to Australia? I'm not sure what my shipping is to Australia. I can't remember. I cannot remember. I don't think it's too bad. I think I've got the shipping set at 15 Canadian. I'm not sure what that turns into for Australian though. I don't even. You know what it is? I don't try to. It's not that I don't want to discuss prices, but I only do the Canadian value, and it's like, oh well, you said blah. It's like, no, dude, I'm in Canada. I'm in Canada. There's an exchange rate. But yeah, no, the 15%. And I don't care who uses the code. I really don't. Like, I mean, so, you know, share it with your friends, share it with your family. I don't care. I really don't. Because, you know, I definitely have I can definitely deal with it. So it's time for me to go. I will see you guys next time. Thank you for hanging out with me and helping me get some stuff done this afternoon, because it actually helped. It does. It really helps when you're not just like, oh yeah, I'm just staring at this now. Anyway, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna check in with Lisa, see where she's at, and then we're gonna go get dog food. So my diabetic dog doesn't, like, you know, die of diabetes or something. But anyway, I will see you guys next time. Have a great day. Bye. Oh, no, we are not doing that. Okay.